Welcome to another video of Origins. This video is part of our Nicheless series, and will cover the origins of failure. As always, be sure to like, subscribe, and be notified. We are posting new videos all the time. And now, let's go ahead with the video. Origins of failure. Failure is an opportunity, so fail hard, fail better. Does this ring true for a leadership coaching program's mission statement? Or is slang used by techies? Think again. Failure and its history are as old as humanity itself. We need to go back in time and begin with some of the most ancient recorded documents on this subject. In order to comprehend why failure is not always viewed negatively today, in fact, in some circumstances, it's highly recommended. Few things in life are as definite as the fact that we will all make mistakes at some point. Largely at times. Real, genuine, epic failures. One of the first to consider and write on failure was the Chinese philosopher and writer Lao Tzu. The Tao Te Ching, a classic of Chinese philosophical literature, contains numerous references to failure. Historians continue to debate whether he lived in the 6th or 4th centuries before Christ. He begins by highlighting the dangers of success. He asserts that failure is just as risky as success. How? The sage provides a concrete illustration by saying, whether you go up the ladder or down it, your position is shaky. Yet, if you stand with your feet planted firmly on the ground, you will remain upright. Was Lao Tzu advocating passivity? Not quite. Regarding the ongoing conflict between winners and losers, Lao Tzu offered a few other insightful observations regarding how we, as people, measure success. He challenges the reader around halfway through the Tao Te Ching, success or failure. Which is more destructive? If the latter example didn't strike a chord with you, perhaps this will. If we look to others for fulfillment, we will never genuinely be fulfilled. In addition, we can never be content with ourselves if our happiness depends on money. In other words, if we want to lead contented lives, the way we define success is just wrong. It's amazing how this made sense when there was only cash in circulation and no bonds, equities, or other forms of investments. How would Lao Tzu react to the greed of some Wall Street wolves? Finally, not too far from the conclusion, is the pearl of wisdom regarding how positive failure is. He writes, failure is an opportunity. The realization that success is essentially failure will occur when we live a life of satisfaction, which is a pretty elegant way of putting it. This is also why there is no end to the blame if you blame someone else. In actuality, the master does her own duties and overcomes her own errors. In other words, the philosophical discipline of Taoism considered failure to be the path to achievement, long before project management and programming emerged as sciences. Lao Tzu is credited with saying, a winner always finds a way, a loser always finds an excuse. Consider it a highly condensed, almost superficial, summary of everything. A very similar vision was being preached in India at the same time. Siddhartha Gautama, better known as the Buddha, gave up his possessions, his wife, and his kid in order to pursue enlightenment. His lessons still apply to us, even though this is a very concise method of conveying a tale that is also rich with tales. No matter how much wealth, influence, or affection we accrue or acquire, he came to the realization that we are all unhappy. Forsaking aspirations and leading a modest life, possibly while begging for charity from onlookers under a fruit tree, are the keys to happiness. The conclusion of the narrative is that living the life of a loser is the path to true success, and that what we call success is not success. Because losers will always outnumber winners, society as a whole makes even more complicated arguments in their favor in Greece. Everyone in ancient Greece accepted the idea that you may be good and still fail. The art form selected to continuously remind us of this aspect of humanity was tragic drama. We can now comprehend the structure and essential components of this genre, which flourished in the 5th century BC, thanks to Aristotle's Poetics. For instance, the protagonist of a tragedy has very particular characteristics. They are honorable, sometimes above average, and constantly prone to making minor errors. Their flaws might seem harmless at first, but as the story progresses, it becomes evident that they will cause a catastrophe. These will prove deadly in the end. Deadly because the gods, who control fate, determine people's futures. So, Tragedies become sympathetic and ethically complex tales of how good people might find themselves in dire circumstances. Tragedies taught people not to respect solely the successful and consider the poor as losers, by instilling sorrow for losers and self-doubt. Poverty and frailty are preferred over the materialistic ideals of wealth, notoriety, and military prowess. In a way, failing is a blessing in disguise. With the development of the Roman Empire, when success was defined by wealth, notoriety, and military might, everything drastically changed. Possibly the person who took this method of success, and failure, to its breaking point was Julius Caesar, who started out as a general and statesman. Caesar widened the boundaries of the Roman Republic to encompass parts of Germany, France, Britain, and possibly Spain, Greece, and Egypt, among other nations. It therefore comes as no surprise that after his passing in 44 BC, he was declared to be a god. Such a case increased worry about failure, and generals who lost battles were expected to commit suicide as a result. It's interesting to note that suicide was viewed as a human right in ancient Rome, however, it was not in Athens or Sparta. Do you recall the gods who oversaw the lives of the helpless victims in Greek tragedies? Its time has long since passed. But things quickly began to change once more, this time inside the boundaries of the Roman Empire. In his Sermon on the Mount, delivered in 30 AD, Jesus of Nazareth proclaimed, "Happy are the poor, for they shall inherit the earth." It was time for losers to shine once more, and this time they would shine brightly and for ages. In a way, those who are unfortunate and unsuccessful are more successful in God's eyes than those who have it all. Their failure undermines self-confidence and promotes reliance on God. The values of money, fame, and military glory are worldly values, while poverty and weakness are preferred. In a way, failing is a blessing in disguise. The remainder is history. Go back in time around 1,800 years. Meritocracy emerged as a fresh, revolutionary ideology in Napoleon's France. Modern-day Caesar asserted that under his administration, advancement would be based on skill rather than hereditary rank. Napoleon established the Legion of Honor, which deserving members of all social groups might join. Achievement was now far more just and deserving. Failure was not unintentional because everyone had a chance to succeed. A principle that currently forms the basis of what is usually seen as the American value system and the principles of capitalism. Failure was not unintentional because everyone had a chance to succeed. Two major works of English and French literature from the middle of the 19th century celebrated the exploits and triumphs of the oppressed. These are David Copperfield and Les Miserables. During this time, a new definition of genius emerged. It was the ability to overcome initial rejection and ultimately gain acceptance and respect from others. In other words, true successes may require a long waiting period before they become apparent. Examples include artists like Édouard Manet, Camille Pissarro, and Vincent van Gogh. Between the 19th and the 20th century, American inventor Thomas Edison deliberately sought failure and found creative ways to use it as a weapon for success. We learned from his experience, and the experiences of many others who came before him, that there are valid reasons to desire innovations to fail, in addition to the fact that we should expect them to do so. Yet, when you're trying to get money for your next big tech concept, don't mention it to your investors. The protest movement, whose catchphrase is "We are 99%, representing the vast majority of the population," sprang to prominence at the start of our century. Even though victors are always fewer than losers, they always succeed in the end. Even while the number of zeros in your money account still determines success, the movement made everyone think about what we place a high value on: living a decent life. Making a lot of money is not a need for being a moral person. Instead, one should conduct ethically toward people and to the environment. This was all for today. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy the video. Is there a place or anything you want to know about the origins? Please tell us in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and get notified if you enjoy the video. It would mean a lot to me. Thank you for watching. See you next time.